iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.
Yellowface is a play that was first produced in 2007, and last year, or maybe 2 years ago, Lee Silverman, the director, and David Henry Hwang, the writer, and I got together to do an audio-only version of the show for Audible. And when we were doing that version, we thought, this is a great play. Has it ever been done on Broadway? And David said no. And so the three of us got together, and we talked to Scott Ellis over at the Roundabout and asked him whether he'd be interested, and here we are today.
I play the white dude. I play Marcus, who's cast as said white dude in an Asian role by mistake by the incredible Daniel Dae Kim, who's playing a version of David, our playwright. And it's based on something that actually happened to David. And that's where we begin this comedy and then tumble down a rabbit hole of confusion and mix-up and identity and what we're supposed to do and who we really are and authenticity versus, just all these beautiful themes.
I am playing Henry Hwang, David's father in the show, and along with maybe a couple of other roles. And I started actually workshopping the show back in 2005, just doing readings of scenes of the show, and was lucky enough to do the show when it came to New York, to the Public Theater. And so I've had a long history with this show, and ever since 2007, when it won the Obie Award, when it was a finalist for the Pulitzer Award, I was like, this should be on Broadway. And so I'm really excited that it finally has made it here.
I'm playing a very important character named NWOAC, or Name Withheld on Advice of Counsel. It's a mysterious gentleman that guides us through the play for the most part, until he steps into the play and asks David some hard-hitting questions that sort of raise the stakes and danger of the play, which has been very funny so far, and I make it a little bit more serious.
I am playing Actor B, and Actor B, I play 21, 22 characters right now. That might change by the time we open, but I play a lot of characters.
I am playing 10 to 12 characters. The one that repeats the most is Leah, who is the character DHH's ex-girlfriend and Marcus's current girlfriend. Love triangle. Get into it.
My name is Kevin Del Aguila. I play Actor A, which I thought was a grade at one point, but apparently it just means that I'm sequentially one of the actors that plays a million roles in Yellowface. I play everything from Marklin Baker to Mayor Ed Koch to a Russian newspaper at one point, and everything in between. So it's really a fun challenge to just become this protean kind of creature that keeps popping up, playing all these different roles along the way. It's very exciting.
It's about a character named DHH and his relationship with the Miss Saigon scandal and the protests, the Yellowface protests of that time, and then his play Face Value, and then ultimately this is a terrible encapsulation because it's such an amazing play and it does so many incredible things, but it's really a very funny comedy about mistaken racial identity. And that's sort of the elevator pitch of it, but really it is a funny, ridiculous, delightful, entertaining, and ultimately quite personal story about David and his father, David, and the theater community. And it's just like one of those plays, like it's got everything. You just got to come and see it.
Well, this is a play that maybe we could say began with my biggest flop, which is one of the biggest flops in Broadway history, a play called Face Value, which was a comedy. It was intended to be a comedy of mistaken racial identity in the early 90s, and it closed in previews. But I continued to think about the idea, and it led to this play, Yellowface, which was originally done off-Broadway in '07. And now the opportunity to bring it to Broadway, to a mainstream audience, to have the comedy resonate for a wide range of people is incredibly gratifying and fun.
It's been a lot of fun so far. Yeah, it's been a great experience working with Lee and on a play that I've loved for a while. David is a fantastic playwright, as many of us know. I mean, you know, how nice is it to be able to work with Tony-nominated and Tony-winning people, and our ensemble, our acting ensemble is fantastic. It's been a lot of fun, really.
I think that now is the perfect time for Yellowface. It is the perfect time when the country is still having a national reckoning over what it means to be American, what it means to be, for me personally, to be Chinese in America. What does it mean to be a nation of immigrants? What does it mean when we say we're a nation that is a melting pot? Can we live up to those dreams? And Yellowface is perfect for that because it is about, at its heart, who we decide we want to be. It's about the roles that we play and who gets to decide what roles we play. Ultimately, it challenges us all to decide to be our better angels instead of the alternative.
I had heard of Yellowface. I knew of it. I had not seen it or read it, and they sent me the script, and I didn't realize how hilarious it was. I didn't realize that it was like basically a laugh out loud comedy with some, with some real politics thrown in. But yeah, it's. As soon as I read it, I said this play is going to be like a hit on Broadway.
This plopped out of the sky into my lap. I have never worked with these people. I've never worked with Lee, never worked with David. And so it was a very strange experience to say, oh, wow, all of these people are asking me to be part of this. I read the script. I loved the script. And I thought, I've got to do this. I want to work with these people. This is a fantastic play. So it's really been an exciting kind of and surprising experience, and I leapt at the chance, and I've been enjoying it ever since.
It's definitely been a challenge because a lot of the people that I'm playing are prominent figures that you may know, I'm sure you do know and have heard of, and some will be originated by me. But doing service to those people and to the play is a big challenge without not like a full mimicking of them, but giving the essence of these people, but also serving the play. But it's been so much fun. It's so much fun.
I'm really thrilled to be part of this play. David Henry Wong has written this incredible conversation about race and authenticity and the self and identity, and there's a lot of humor in the play, and so I think it really disarms that conversation and makes it very accessible for all of us, which is great.
Somebody offered me a job, so I took it. That's how I got here. But also, David Henry Hwang is iconic, an icon. He is the moment. And yeah, I would pretty much go wherever David and our director Lee Silverman told me to go. And they told me to go to the same room as them every day. It's a dream.
Well, it's funny because there is sort of a Mandela effect, right? Like when you play somebody, you have to kind of play everybody's idea of who this person is. So I think I'm more of a perfect stranger as Mark Lynn Baker, just so everybody is familiar with.
I was approached by this handsome devil right here, who was gracious enough to come on New Amsterdam, which was a show I was working on. And from the moment I met him, I thought, what a thoughtful, nice dude. And then he said, take a look at this play and see what you think. And I just remember laughing and feeling joy around this conversation that's often fraught with tension and fear of saying the wrong thing and all these things. And I remember just reading it and wanting to be a part of that conversation and to be a part of the humor and the joy that's in the play. I mean,
I have a very light course load compared to everybody else. I think Miranda's playing like 25 characters or something crazy like that. So I honestly, I'm like putting my feet up in the back. But it's great. It's great to play in the room. It's a super warm room. It's really fun. we're all just kind of fools, like figuring stuff out together, which is a nice place to go for the day, you know?
Well, Daniel is someone I've known for a long time, but we've never worked together in this way, and we've always wanted to. And one of the things that's amazing about working with Daniel on this is, you know, he has such a reputation. It's part of his whole identity to be integrous, to be an advocate, to be a moral center. And in this play, he gets to play a character based on me that is also an advocate, but is making a lot of mistakes and struggling and trying to cover them up in a panic. And I think people are going to discover how funny Daniel Day Kim can be.
It's really funny. It's a very, very funny show. You think at first, oh, is this going to be kind of lecturing and very sort of, racism is bad kind of thing, but it's funny, and it's really self-effacing, and it's got this whole meta kind of like what's real, what's not idea to it, this sort of mockumentary kind of style to it, and I just loved it. I thought it was very, very engaging, and it's been fun to be a part of.
It feels incredible. I mean, this is the play that David Wong and I met on in 2006. We've worked on at least 8 projects since then. It's sort of where it all began, and it's been a dream of ours to bring the show to Broadway, and I can't believe it's happening here, that it's happening at the Roundabout, that it's happening with this extraordinary cast. I mean, it's a dream.
Well, Lee and I first met on the original production of Yellowface. So this was our first collaboration together, and we've subsequently worked on, 7, 8, 10 projects, depending on, how you count those that are still pending. And so to revisit it for Broadway together, to continue working on it, to tweak it, to trim it, and knowing that we have this shorthand of understanding the play and understanding each other is just the best way I could think of in terms of bringing this play back.
I think that the thing that impressed me the most 17 years ago, and that is most powerful to me now, is the father-son relationship, and how that's a reflection of what essentially the play is about. Henry was an immigrant to this country. Henry was living the American dream. Henry, David's father, imagined himself like Frank Sinatra in Guys and Dolls, or Jimmy Stewart, Clark Gable. He was the hero of his own story until forces in this country decided that he was not. And I think that the relationship between father and son is something that everyone can relate to. The relationship between somebody who knows us like our parents know us, like no one else in the world, and what we decide to put out to the world, as opposed to that. That contrast is something that I am really, really focused on achieving in this production.
Yes, I worked with Lee Silverman before. We worked in a play last season called Marry Me at New York Theater Workshop. It was a comedy as well. I loved working with her. We had also worked together, met years prior, so I've just been a huge fan of hers. And I honestly got a call and an offer to do the play, and immediately read it and loved it and was so grateful to be invited to this amazing party with these amazing, amazing actors. She's amazing. She's amazing. And ultimately this play is about casting. So Lee and David were really thoughtful about the casting, and so to be invited and thought of, and as a Black woman, it's so important to lend my voice to any marginalized community so that we have to all work together, so that's super important to me, and I was just grateful that they asked me to do it.
When you hear the title, you're immediately like, oh, and there's that tension of and then it's really fun. So I think that kind of feeling, that kind of loosening around these conversations and things, and allowing people to actually connect instead of being, divided by, whatever fears or judgments or whatever, I think that's a beautiful thing in and of itself. So it's really fun to be a part of. And the director, Lee, is fantastic. David, our playwright, is a legend. And So I'm just thrilled to be a part of it.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.